Let's do this. I am stoked to bring you back to the Wellness Farmer podcast where your health is my focus. I take what has become too complex and I help you by simply focusing on where health is found inside of you. So, how do we empower ourselves to feel our best? With chiropractic care, eating nutrient dense food grown on fertile soil without chemicals, adequate movement, and natural internal dialogue. On this podcast, I put emphasis on growing your own food and food in general and storing it using the permaculture and the modern survivalism lifestyles. And on today's episode, episode 203, I use my little urban garden as an example. So one of the constants in life are its obstacles or the stumbling blocks, but really they don't have to be stumbling blocks. The stumbling blocks can and need to be the way to a better life, a more healthy life. Today, with my little urban garden as an example, I explain how we can turn today's stumbling blocks into tomorrow's better and more healthy life. So hope you like this episode. And I have to throw it out there, thanks to Ryan Holiday for his great book, The Obstacle is the Way, The Timeless Art of Turning Trials into Triumphs, because I'm actually using a lot of what he talks about in his book in today's episode. So a great book. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. It's a great read too. So really neat book. So today's actually December 6th, 2018, and I am Ben Page, your host. And yes, we are in December. I really can't believe it. Time has flown by this year, and I'm hoping that we were able to do what we needed to do this year to make our lives that much more healthier. All right, so there's a couple things I need to talk about. We are in the month of December, so if you haven't purchased my book yet, now is the time to do it. It's Christmas time. Sharing, and what's better to share than the true philosophy on health? So get my book, The 4 Pillars of Health. You can buy it at my webpage, Pastos Verdes Farm, or just go straight to Amazon and buy it there. What a gift. What a gift. The true philosophy of health. What a great read, and I promise you that if you can give a good gift, that's a good gift. And don't forget to get it at Amazon.com or my webpage, Pastos Verdes Farm. And if you want to read just a couple chapters for free, go to my website, Pastos Verdes Farm, and join my email list. I'll send you a couple of the chapters free and a couple other articles too that can help you live a healthier life. So don't miss that. Go and join my email list and go subscribe to my YouTube channel because I have a new video series that I'm going to be talking about a little bit in today's episode. Well, it's not too new now. I'm already on episode 8 of Huerto Urbano, where I'm showing you how I'm growing just a little bit of food in the middle of the city. And most importantly, if you're getting anything out of this podcast and you want to give me some of that back, there's an easy way to do it. Go to patreon.com or my webpage, pastosverdesfarm.com. On the right side, there's a Patreon button. You click on that and then it teaches you, shows you exactly what you need to do to help me keep bringing this great content to you. Or if you're getting value out of this, giving a little bit of that value back. But again, so we're in December and well, let's give the best, and the best is where we have health, because if we have health, everything else is possible. So let's get into this main content here, which is going to be just great. Okay, so today I'm going to share a really neat story from my garden and how I can actually use this experience to intertwine the lessons I am learning from a book by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacle is the Way, which I told you at the very beginning. So I say learning because it's a lifelong process. I finished the book, but I have to reread it and study it even more, and most importantly, act to truly be able to turn every obstacle in life into a blessing, into the way that helps me grow so then I can help those around me also grow. I'm going to be using some quotes straight from the book and that I recommend reading. So if you haven't had the chance to read the book, or I recommend going and checking it out. But all of us pretty much, before we truly understand obstacles in life, before we can actually turn those obstacles into the correct path, we basically have the same response to them. Ryan states, every obstacle is unique to each of us, but the response they elicit are the same: fear, frustration, confusion, helplessness, depression, anger. So those that are following my Huerta Urbana video series knows, make sure you go subscribe to that on Pastos Verdes Farm on YouTube, knows that I have very little space to grow nutrient-dense food for my family. And this is not an excuse, I mean, it's the reality. But I'm growing some, and I am sure that if I continue to innovate, I will find ways to grow even more in this little place that I call home at the moment. So is that a bad thing, or is it a good thing? Many people would say that it is a bad thing, that my reality is bad. I truly want to grow as much food that is nutrient dense for my family, and I'm not able to do it. That is bad. Others might say that it's a good thing for other reasons. But as Ryan says, there's no good or bad without us. There's only perception. There is the event itself, and then the story we tell ourselves about what it means. I can perceive it to be good or bad. Without me perceiving it to be good or bad, it is just an event. I then tell the story about it being good or bad. I have the choice. Very interesting. So when you worry, and I will add when you feel frustrated, confused, helpless, depressed, and mad, or in other words, when you experience fear, ask yourself, what am I choosing to not see right now? What important things are you missing because you chose worry, or again, I add frustration, confusion, helplessness, depression, anger, and what causes all those feelings, really fear, over introspection, alertness, or wisdom. The reason why I stated at the beginning that I am learning is exactly because this comes with lots of practice. I mean, lots of practice. And one way to practice, as they say, will eventually make perfect, is, as Ryan continues to say, you can always remind yourself, I am in control, not my emotions. I see what's really going on here. I'm not going to get excited or upset. And I add frustrated, confused, helpless, or depressed. So we need to remember that we are in control of our emotions. We can control what's really going on inside. And we can say, I'm not going to get excited, or I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to get frustrated. I'm not going to get confused. I'm not going to get helpless. I'm not going to be helpless, or I'm not going to be depressed. Another way is asking yourself, again, the words of Ryan, does what happened keep you from acting with justice, generosity, self-control, sanity, prudence, honesty, humility, straightforwardness? No. Then get back to work. Subconsciously, we should be constantly asking ourselves this question, do I need to freak out about this? And the answer, like it is for most astronauts, for soldiers, for doctors, and for so many other professionals, must be no, because I practice for the situation and I can control myself, or no, because I caught myself and I'm able to realize. So at the moment, you could say, I'm going through an obstacle in life. Is it a life or death situation? No. Is it a life or death obstacle? No, but it's an obstacle. There will always be people in a worse position than me, and also in a better position than me. It's just how life works. Some people are going through more difficult obstacles, and others are going through obstacles that are just a little bit easier than what mine are. That's just how life is. So what's so important is how it's not how difficult the obstacle is, but how we act, our actions to the obstacle. In all obstacles, there are certain parts that are outside of our circle of influence, as Stephen Covey says it. So what is up to us when it comes to our obstacles? What can we do, or what can we influence when we go through our obstacles? Well, he says, what is up to us? Our emotions, our judgments, our creativity, our attitude, our perspective, our desires, our decisions, and our determination. That's what's up to us when we're going through these obstacles. So when we're in a struggle, when we are going through an obstacle, it doesn't matter how terrible it is. What is up to us, what we are in control of, is our emotions, our judgments, our creativity, our attitudes, our perspective, our desires, our decisions, and our determination, and nothing more. Probably one of the hardest things for most of us, and I say this because it's so hard for me, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can to not let this be hard for me, is the most harmful dragon we choose is the one that makes us think we can change things that are simply not ours to change. And then not acting on what we can change. Procrastinating on what we know we must do, but finding excuses to not turn our obstacles into blessings. So I have no backyard and no front yard. This can be very discouraging to someone that wholeheartedly, like me, wants to grow nutrient-dense food for his family. I can't change that right now. It is what I have, so do I sit and do nothing? Do I not act? Do I let a certain perspective dictate my attitude, consequently letting out emotions and judgments, killing my creativity and desires, making it difficult to have determination to make the right decisions? Or do I look at this event with a different perspective? First, as Ryan states, he says, remember that this moment is not your life. It's just a moment in your life. Focus on what is in front of you right now. Ignore what it represents or it means or why it happened to you. And then act. I have come to call the process of becoming one's best self as natural health. Because natural means existing in or caused by nature, not made or caused by humankind. We do not become healthy. We make or cause ourselves to be healthy. We don't become healthy. We don't make or cause ourselves to be healthy. Our ecosystems return to healthy. Yes, there's certain things, certain concepts that I talk about that help, but the health is not us acting. It is our bodies doing what they are created to do, be naturally healthy. So we as humans naturally act. And Ryan puts it perfectly when he wrote, action is natural, innate. You trip and fall, right? Your body's instincts protect you. You extend your hands to break your fall so you don't break your face. In a vicious accident, you go into shock but still manage to get your arms up around your face. That's where the term defensive wounds come from. We don't think, we don't complain, we don't agree, we don't argue, we act. We have real strength, more strength than we know. So I take this obstacle and turn it into an opportunity to share with you how I'm trying to grow food in the middle of a city without a backyard or a front yard. Not easy, and very few doing it. So what a great way to take an obstacle and turn it into the way. So I take 5 planter boxes and fill them with homemade compost and then turn dirt that was used as a driveway with lots of rocks and broken bricks into a front yard garden where there's a tree giving the area too much shade, and showing you through my video series, Huerta Urbana, my failures and successes. Not easy. It's not easy at all. But the other day, I was able to see why this obstacle is the way. No, the video series is not sponsored. It doesn't even have hardly anybody watching it yet. I say yet because that can all change with you guys. Check it out, Pastors Better This Form on YouTube, and share it with you. Share it, and comment, like it if you do. But no, the obstacle is the way because a couple of days ago, my 2 kids with their cousin was at my house, and we went out back and picked carrots and tomatoes fresh from the garden and ate them. I was able to share nutrient-dense food with my kids and a nephew of mine. But it doesn't end there. So most kids nowadays will ask their parents for some kind of product we could call food that we wouldn't even give our dog, but for some reason it is fine to feed our kids. But the other day, my son came to me and asked, "Hey, Dad, can I pick that tomato outside and eat it with Mateo?" Who's his cousin, or my nephew. Like, wow, that's music to my ears. I had my son asking if he could eat nutrient-dense food. It is sad I have to say it, but it is rare that kids will actually ask for nutrient-dense food. But food that comes from a couple planter boxes, because the backyard is all cement, I was able to provide something excellent for my kids that they wanted to consume. I mean, would that ever happen at a supermarket? Imagine your kids with you in the supermarket walking past the vegetables and asking you to buy them tomatoes. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen when you have it. It does happen when you have it growing in your backyard or your front yard, though. So I turned an obstacle in the way to actually being the way, I guess you can kind of say. But nature's wonderful, and it doesn't stop there. All right, I want to finish this episode with just a couple great quotes from this book by Ryan Holiday. The great law of nature is that it never stops. There is no end. Just when you think you've successfully navigated one obstacle, another emerges. But that's what keeps life interesting. As you're starting to see, that's what creates opportunities. Life is a process of breaking through these impediments, a series of fortified lines that we must break through. Each time you'll learn something, each time you'll develop strength, wisdom, and perspective. Each time a little more of the competition falls away until all that is left is you, the best version of you. Life is a trial. It will not be easy, but you are prepared to give it everything you have regardless, ready to endure, persevere, and inspire others. See things for what they are. Do what we can, endure, and bear what we must. And that is how we live our lives just a little better, one episode at a time. If you like this episode, share it so that more people can also live their lives just a little better, one episode at a time.